Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't have a clicker.
Cool, okay.
Okay, so, hello everyone. Today we're gonna be learning about nouns and noun phrases. So our agenda is we are going to identify nouns by learning some clues. We're gonna learn semantic, structural, morphological, which breaks into derivational and inflectional clues. Then we're gonna move on to learning about some of the noun types, count nouns, non-count, which then divides into mass, abstract, collective, and then crossover nouns. We'll go into determiners, which are articles, demonstratives, and quantifiers. Those are what signal nouns, so words that come before that indicate the next word might be a noun. And then lastly, we're going to do some pronouns. We're going to go over subject, object, possessive, reflexive, and indefinite pronouns. So, what is a noun? Most of us know it by its basic definition. It is a person, place, or a thing. So, to get our brains moving, we are going to start with a little activity. Everybody stand up. We're going to do an alphabet game. We're going to go in a circle, starting from A all the way to Z. We're just going to say a noun. I'm going to start off. A for animal.
B for bear.
C for cat.
D for dog.
E for elephant.
G for grape.
It's okay.
And Ava. H for him. I for igloo. J for alligator.
Love that.
K for cool.
L for lime.
M for mom.
Ooh. N for narwhal.
O for octopus.
P for Pop-Tart.
Okay.
Q. Quarter. Q for quarter. Oh.
R for rat.
And as for soap. U for umbrella. B. B for Valentine.
Okay.
W for wallet. Xylophone?
Y. Yesterday.
Nice. And I'm going to continue my animal theme. Zebra for Z. Great. Everybody, we can take a seat.
It's hard.
Get our brains moving a little. Love it. Okay, so I want to cover form is not necessarily equal to function. Before we start our lesson, I want us to take a moment to think about this statement. Let's read these two sentences. Plants grow in rich soil, and the rich have a good life. Let's take a look at the word rich. In the first sentence, it's functioning as an adjective. It is describing the noun soil, right? However, in the second sentence, the rich is a subject and it's a noun. So as you can see, it's spelled the same, right? The form is the same. However, the function in the sentence is different. So we need to consider when we're looking at words that we're considering their function in grammar, not just their form. So moving on.
To me, so what are ways we can identify nouns? Some ways that we can do so is through clues. There are three types of clues that we can use to identify nouns. The first one being semantics. Semantics is just a fancy word for meaning. So take the word school, we know that it means a place for children to learn. A noun is a place, so school is a noun, simple as that. Whereas structural clues is a little bit more complex. Structural clues are hints that help identify nouns based on a word's form or position in a sentence. These hints would be defined as articles, so and. They would also be defined as adjectives, a plural S ending, and also the noun position in the sentence, so whether it's a subject or an object. Lastly, they would be defined as possessive marker. So take the noun book. You have the article A here that is modifying the noun. Then you have in the second sentence an interest in book. You can use the adjective here, and you'll know that the book is a noun. And in the third sentence, I like books, that's where the plural S ending comes to play. And then the fourth sentence, she read the book. This is when we're talking about the position of the noun in a sentence. In this case, book is the object. And then the last one being the possessive marker, so Raleigh's book is a way you can identify the noun. Any questions? Let me know if I'm talking too fast.
Okay, moving on. So our morphological clues, we have derivational, which is our word endings, our suffixes, or that help us identify nouns. So as we can go over, nest, shin, meant, is, ship, edge, age. These are all endings in words that indicate the word might be a noun. Then we have inflectional, words that are plural or take the possessive S, indicate a noun. So for the S inflection, we have books, pencils, pens. We also have the possessive S. Justin's cars, cat's whiskers, girl's jacket. However, something to note, inanimate nouns do not take the possessive S. However, there is an exception. That exception is if it's a collective noun. We'll talk a little bit more about it later, but just to introduce it, committee's responsibility. As a collective noun, it refers to a group. And so we think of that group as one entity. And so it can have a possession of something. Okay? Let me know if you have any questions on that or anything else on this slide.
Can we think about more examples of collective nouns? Like a committee.
We'll go over it more when we go over collective nouns.
Go ahead.
Okay, great. Moving on.
So now that we know how to properly identify nouns, what about the different types of nouns? There's a lot, and we're going to briefly go through a lot of them today. And the first one we're going to be going through is known as collective nouns. It's pretty simple. Sorry, excuse me. Countable nouns. Sorry, it's pretty simple. Very straightforward. Countable nouns are nouns that you can count individually. So 3 dogs, 5 apples, 2 chairs. Very simple and straightforward.
Perfect. So moving on to uncountable nouns. As you can probably guess, uncountable means you can't count them. So these usually refer to abstract concepts or units. And then they also take the singular verb, and because they are not countable, sometimes we add a quantifying phrase. So I'll go through it. If we take the example grass, a quantifying phrase would be a blade of grass. That's how we count grass. So that would be a quantifying phrase, and altogether a blade of grass equals the noun phrase. So we have mass nouns. These are nouns that can't be counted and refer to larger units and categories. So for this would be furniture, cheese, or grass. For furniture, that refers to tables, desks, chairs, a group of things that fit into a specific category. Okay? For cheese, it's hard to count cheese. However, you can say cheeses, so you can use the plural S. And then for grass, as we covered, a blade of grass, you can't count individual grass. Next, we have abstract nouns. These are nouns that refer to ideas and concepts such as intelligence or hate. Obviously, they're intangible, we can't touch them. And then lastly, we have collective nouns. Nouns that refer to sets or groups. We have audience, press, committee, or faculty, as Professor Dung said earlier. Maybe if anyone would like to think of a noun that fits into one of these categories and would like to say which category?
Like a group's decision would be a collective noun, a group.
Group, the word group?
Yeah, the word group.
Yes, yes. Because it refers to a group of people.
But group is
So you
not-
could say the group's opinion.
But a group is not a collective noun. Because you could say groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, right?
Oh. I interpreted it as a collective noun. Okay, I guess not.
There are not a lot of them. Sometimes it's just a matter of memorizing them. Like another one would be, a trickier one actually would be family. If you're referring to family as a collective whole, it's uncountable. But if you are talking about family members, you can, but it's countable. So it could be both family and it could also be families, but they refer to different things. Does it make sense?
But can you, that one would be a collective.
It could
Yeah.
be both. Family could be both.
Okay.
Yeah, family is tricky.
How is it, is groups not also able to vote?
Give me an example of group being uncountable. Actually, I thought about one. Maybe you could say, hey, this is my group.
I feel like you could think about it in the same way as committee.
Mhm.
Like, to me, those kind of could mean the same thing, so that could fit under that category. Maybe committee has more like specific than just group.
Couldn't committee also be countable? So there are 3 committees.
I think this kind of ties into our next slide. In a way.
Okay.
In a way.
In a way, yeah.
So yeah. Beware, nouns can be both countable and non-countable, so we have to consider this with our ESL learners. So take the word chicken. When it's a count noun, you can say we saw 5 chickens crossing the road, whereas non-countable, yesterday I had some chicken for lunch. So you have to really be careful and consider this. So.
And moving on.
Okay, so now that we have an idea of the types of nouns and how to identify nouns, what about a noun phrase? So a noun phrase is a group of words that includes a noun and all of its modifiers. These modifiers are typically known as determiners, and there are 3 types. First one I will be covering is known as articles. The articles, the, and a. When articles combine with nouns, they form noun phrases. So the cat, a dog. These articles can also be categorized into 2 categories. The definite article, the is considered definite because it doesn't refer to something general. So I like movies, but if you take and put that definite article, I like the movies at AMC or Cinemark or wherever you like to see movies, it specifies it. Whereas the indefinite articles, a, and, these are used when the speaker is referring to something that's more vague or not specific. So she ate an apple for lunch. So this could mean any apple. But again, if you like say, use that definite article there, she ate the apple from Twilight or from Snow White or something. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, this is the first way to, this is the first type of determiner, which we'll get to about the next. Any questions?
Don't worry, take your time.
Do you still remember the difference between a and an?
Who wants to say it?
100%. What is it?
You use and if it's a vowel sound that starts the next word. And A if it's a consonant.
Good job remembering it's the vowel sound, not just a vowel. Cool, okay. So, next we have demonstratives. So, these precede nouns and these indicate relative location or position. So, when considering which one to use, it is the noun singular or plural? And then how far or close is the noun relative to the speaker's mental or physical perception? So, for the singular, we have this and that. This indicates closer, a closer position, either physically or mentally, and then that farther away. So for example, I enjoyed reading this book by Brown, but I didn't really like that other one by him because I didn't think the ending was very good. So in this, we can see this book by Brown and that other one. So in this is more of a mental perspective, whereas maybe they were talking about the book more recently, right, in their conversation. So it's this book versus that other book that maybe they were talking about earlier, right? So it's really important to consider that mental perspective, right? Moving on, we have these and those. These are for plural. These are closer, and those is for further away. So for example, those boys hanging out by the supermarket are not nearly as friendly as these boys are. So this refers to the physical distance, right? Maybe the boys are standing here. These boys are hanging out by, the supermarket. Hanging out by the supermarket are not nearly as friendly as these boys who are close to me are, right? Supermarket is far away. These boys here are close to me. Okay, do we have questions on that? The issue that people struggle with here, so let's make sure we grasp it, is the mental distance. Okay.
I think also pronunciation.
Mhm.
Between these and these.
Okay, interesting, yeah. This, that, these, those.
The one is weak.
Does anybody want to give me an example sentence that uses any of these words?
Mm,
Okay, there's no wrong, we can learn together. Okay. We'll do some more practice later on, don't worry. Moving on.
So the last type of determiner is known as quantifiers. Quantifiers are words that are used before nouns to express quantity or amount. So take the words many, much, a few, little, several, some, any, those are all considered quantifiers. One thing to keep in mind though, that some quantifiers can only be used with count nouns. Some quantifiers can only be used with non-count nouns. So for instance, many with the countable noun here, books, but much with the non-countable noun here, information, and then some with that crossover noun, chicken. So, yes. Any questions?
There are some that are only with crossovers or? No, that doesn't make sense because crossovers can be both.
Yes. Yes, so just to clarify, only some with countable, only some with non-countable, and then some other ones.
Can I add something? So, this, that. So non-countable nouns can only be used with this and that, right? You cannot put these, those, because they're for plural, in front of non-countable nouns. Right? It's very simple. Not, please. Thank you.
Also want to clarify, so I'm not confusing anyone, in the meeting. It was showing up sometimes as countable or count, so you can say them interchangeably, so countable nouns are also count nouns. Non-countable nouns are also not count, just a short. So on this page, I put it short down. So now that we learned about determiners, how to identify a noun and the different types of nouns and what a noun exactly is, what about pronouns? So pronoun is a word that takes the place of a noun or noun phrase to avoid repetition. There are many types of pronouns, with the first type being
Subject pronoun. So a subject pronoun tells us who or what the doer of the verb is. Okay? Or who or what is being described by the verb. So it's found to the left of the main verb. So in the sentence, she reads. She is the subject pronoun. As we can see in the previous sentence, the girl reads. She is replacing the girl. The girl is the subject. Okay? So for all of our subject nouns, our first person singular, I, second person, you, third person, he, she, it for singular. For plural, we, you, and they. As we can see, you stays the same for the singular and for the plural, as well as for our next few pronouns. This is an example of form not equaling function, right? Because it is the same form, or the same, yes, same form, but used in two different ways, okay? So it's something to keep in mind. Any questions? Got it. Okay, so of course we have our subject and then we have our object. So our object pronouns replace the nouns or noun phrases that are in the object position. Object position means the noun or the noun phrase that receives the action of the verb. Okay? So our sentence, the girl reads books. Books in this sentence is the object. It's what's being read. Okay? We replace it with them. She reads them, right? Because it is plural and it is third person. Okay, so for our object pronouns, singular, we have me, first person, you, again, second person, he, him, her, it for third person, and then for plural, us, first person, you, second person, third person, them.
Teacher, you don't have a period in the end of the sentences.
Shame on you. So that's a really critical thing, right? Let's make sure we remember our periods.
You're not there.
Okay,
Okay, so the next type of pronoun is known as possessive pronouns. Now, I know you might be confused why are there adjectives up here. This is because the author denoted that in a way, both possessive adjectives and possessive pronouns are similar because they both show ownership of possession. The key difference between the two is that possessive adjectives are words that come before a noun and describe whose noun it is. Whereas possessive pronouns, these stand alone and completely replace the noun phrase to avoid repetition. So in possessive adjectives, you have this is my book, is that your car or purse is inside your room. Whereas when it's a pronoun, possessive pronoun, this book is mine, that car is yours, the purse inside the room is hers.
Next, we have reflexive pronouns. So these pronouns do not actually substitute for a noun or noun phrase. Instead, reflexive pronouns refer back to the subject. So our example sentence, the actress admired herself in the mirror. As we can see, herself is the reflexive pronoun referring back to the actress. Okay? Reflexive pronouns can also be used for emphasis. I myself would never do that, right? Adding that myself gives it a little bit more emphasis and pizzazz that I'm not doing that, right? Okay, so for I, we move it to myself, you singular, yourself, he, himself, she, herself, it, itself. Moving on to plural, as you can see, we're changing from adding self to the end to selves. We, ourselves, you plural, yourselves, they, themselves. So when a reflexive is used with by, it is usually meaning it is who? It means it is on one's own, alone or independently. So as we see in our example sentence, Joe can't answer the question by himself, right? That indicates alone. Any questions on that? Okay. And our last pronouns, indefinite pronouns. They are also known as compound pronouns. This is because, as you might see, we're combining words. Okay? So these pronouns are called indefinite because they do not actually refer to something specific or someone no. Indefinite pronouns take the singular third person verb form. As you can see, is anybody out there? Or nothing is true, everything is permitted, which is an Assassin's Creed quote. Don't put anything. Read that. And so to go through them, we're connecting words. So we have somebody, anybody, everybody, nobody, someone, anyone, everyone, no one, something, anything, everything, nothing. No one is the only indefinite pronoun that is spelled as two words. No, it is not a typo. Any questions on that?
What's the difference between somebody and someone?
Okay, that's a good question. It is, I'm pretty sure, the position or like the subject versus the object of the sentence.
Can you think about examples? Maybe that will clarify.
Yeah. I can get back to you on this because I don't want to.
No, like general and specific.
I feel like they.
So bad, like in this room, so bad. But someone, it's more specific.
I think they're the same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
might
don't
just be
feel it.
like someone in this room, so.
Yeah, they both just refer to persons, right?
Yeah. It's definitely both persons.
They're interchangeably, I think. Like, Kane was saying.
Really good question. Okay. So, Eric.
Are there any indefinite pronouns that do not fit into this like chart? That are not made up of one of these two components?
No. I want to say no, but I do not want to say that with 100% certainty. Yeah. The reading said only these. So. Okay. Okay, so since people didn't wanna practice, we're gonna make you practice. So moving on.
And so we're gonna be doing like a fun, investigative, noun phrase detectives activity, so we can put everything you guys just learned to the test, or just to work, it's not, it's fun. So what we'll be doing is dividing you guys into two groups. You guys, each group will have 5 minutes to create at least 3 sentences using noun phrases. Once the time is up, we'll switch sides of the classrooms and the group will go solve the other group's the other group's sentences. We truly want you to dissect and break down these sentences, so find the articles, noun phrases, types of nouns, and truly get in there and be that detective, that awesome detective you should be. And once the time is up, we're gonna convene and go over the sentences. Any of my first?
We can do our writing just on paper or your computers if you'd like. And then you can just share verbally with your group.
I also have markers.
Oh, yeah. If you wanna use the boards, we can absolutely.
So we can do it like,
Perfect. I think we can just put it this way.
down the middle, this team can put their sentences here, and this team, you guys put their sentences.
Yep. We'll take 5 minutes to do this and we'll reconvene.
So we're creating 3 different sentences.
They can be a story or but on 3 separate sentences, but as long as there are 3. And it's important to know that you yourself make sure you know the articles, so that way. The other side.
Yes, I'm sorry. For our sentences, we'll give you 3 minutes, so a minute per sentence, and then we'll switch for groups, okay? Oh, okay.
Hey, grandpa.
These do not have to be special sentences, keep it simple. Don't worry about it.
Business firm. In firm. There are so many. On Tuesdays, the bus was doing. And he said, put it in there in types of cheese. Or is it more season? General. The trash. That's a
Jesus?
Yeah. I don't know.
I think it can count as a crossover now, because when you're describing the types of cheeses, right?
Yeah.
You're describing multiple. But when you're describing the quantity of it, right? Maybe you're describing like Parmesan, you're describing that veal cheese, that's uncountable. So I think when you're talking about a specific type, it's uncountable. When you're talking about just cheese in general,
It's a little more.
different types, it's countable. So I would identify cheese as a crossover now.
Jesus, like, I was talking, because I feel like when you say types, then I still say types of shapes. It's when you're like this and. Oh, maybe.
30 seconds. Don't worry, it's. Beautiful. Okay, time, we're gonna switch. So, bring your marker with you so that we have our two different colors, please. When you are looking at each other's sentences, we are considering pronouns. We are considering the type of noun, right? We are considering articles or determiners, okay? Label anything you can. And think about what clues you're using, right? We learned semantic, structural, derivational, inflectional. Think about what clues you're using to help you determine what the noun is, okay? So we can switch, beautiful. And then we will reconvene. I'll give you guys 2 minutes, I think is enough time to do this, and then we'll reconvene. We're 2 minutes, guys. Love it, yeah, feel free to mark it up.
Just like.
I mean, you don't have to find all of them, but like, see, challenge yourself to try and get all of them, of course.
No,
So, would it be, if it wouldn't be a noun, would it be a whole?
I think you're right. That'd be great.
Like so many, this whole thing is not.
Yes, starting at A, so, right, because you have that article. Oh, A, the big red bus. Big red is describing the bus as an adjective. Adjectives is a modifier of a noun.
You have to say adjective or something, or just like.
Maybe you can put up the list of nouns.
Yes.
What is the subject? Is that?
Okay, on the board, everyone, just, we have a summary of the lesson. We can take a look to help you in your dissection of these sentences. Take another minute.
I think you use it like it. On Tuesday. They're big. Yeah, sure.
20 seconds. Make sure we're labeling, if possible, what things are. So maybe if it's a proper noun, or if it's accountable. Okay, great. It's okay if we haven't dissected everything. Let's head back to our seats. We're gonna take a look at our sentences, ask some questions if anybody has any. And we're gonna wrap up the lesson.
Teamwork now. They're just so.
If we have a question, we can go over it for sure. If you guys had any questions on your sentences, let's get back to our seats. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3, eyes on me.
1,
2, 3, eyes on you.
Okay. Love it. So how do we feel about that? Any difficult things when looking at our sentences? Yeah, what'd you struggle with, Victoria?
I think a lot of things, but I feel like I figured it out as we did it, like it helped with practice. The one on the first sentence, a big red bus. I would have at first just thought bus was the noun, but then you helped me realize that because A is there, the noun phrase, because there's an article, so it's that whole chunk,
Mm-hmm.
that is the noun phrase.
Yeah, and thank you for pointing that out. So as we see big red, those weren't anything we covered, right? Those are adjectives. You guys will be covering that your next class, okay? But it modifies the verb. It does, or not verb, excuse me. Now, big describes the noun, bus, red describes the bus. So it modifies. So that's why the whole thing is a noun phrase. Any other things, any questions, things stood out?
I just want to point out Tuesday, Wednesday, Susan, France over there, they're proper nouns. I want to point it out because your kids may not capitalize the first letter of the noun. That is something we have to keep an eye out for.
Mhm.
It was about the reflexive property. I feel like there's been. So when you say, please turn this in to Raleigh or me. That's grammatically correct.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm telling somebody else, please turn this in to
Yeah.
Raleigh or myself, that's wrong.
Yes,
Why?
because you're not referring back to yourself in that sentence, right? It wouldn't be a reflexive.
It's reflexive in terms of the subject of the sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Correct, okay.
I
Yeah.
think, but I would argue if you want to emphasize, then you could use myself. You can turn it to rally or myself. That's
Okay.
unemphasized. You're trying to emphasize it, right? You said they have two
Mm-hmm.
functions.
Yeah, true.
So it's for the emphasis.
I think so.
Great. Okay. This was a great lesson. I just want to leave us off with one thought. Speaking versus written. As native speakers or ESL learners, English is spoken completely different than how it is written. So make sure as we are teaching and learning our grammar that we're considering that, okay? Cool.
Canadians, you have something?
I was just gonna say, no, it's, just to consider, I mean, how Victoria felt, how she struggled with the sentence, just consider and reflect on how she's a native speaker of the English language, and it's even difficult for her, so just consider that when working with your English. So, difficult, even more difficult, in my opinion. And not singling you out, I'm just. For everyone, yeah, it was difficult for me as
Yeah.
well, so.
You did great. Thank you so much. Right?
Can we send each other the presentations? I feel like it's really, really well organized.
Mhm.
Wait, how do I stop?